exactly.
I had read somewhere that you prefer not to listen to other guitarists to be influenced by. Is that true?
I'm yeah, it is. I'm sort of OD'd on guitar players, and I mean, but I appreciate great playing, but I'm 70 years old. I'm not going to change very much. I'm just sort of consolidating what information and knowledge and ability I have. But I was listening to a mandolin player the other night, and he was just phenomenal. Now there's inspiration, because it's just a very fresh side of my music career. Playing mandolin a lot more, and I find inspiration in that. But yeah, I think it's too constricting listening to guitar players, and most of them are playing something you've heard before.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of fresh information going on there. I like good playing. I appreciate good playing, but I'm not going to be learning from it particularly.
Yeah.
I'd rather learn from a clarinet, or a piano.
Well, it's funny you say that. I had this conversation with this author about, to become a better writer, you have to try different forms of writing or find influence in different areas outside of what you would normally do.
I think so, because otherwise you just become very normal. You don't want to be part of the machine.
Yeah.
I think you want to be outside of that. And I was always that way, but by default, I don't know why. But even when I was young, I never sort of copied the blues licks and did that sort of blues pentatonic thing. And I don't know why I didn't do it. I just didn't like it enough.
Yeah.
And I think I saw everybody else doing it. I just thought, why are they copying? So I've always I've always had that sort of independence in me, and I just look for melody.
Well, being 70 years old, you've been performing for most of your life, and I was curious, is at that milestone of not only just time but also your career, is there a rebirth in your thought process, or things that you're realizing or honing in on more, being a performer on stage and interacting with the audience?
Oh yeah. Well, there really is. I really have been reborn, and Tull finished 6 years ago, getting on 4 now, and the first couple of years were really difficult, really hard, but I was highly motivated. I was just sort of looking for what I wanted to do, and now I just love playing more than I ever have enjoyed my guitar playing. I'm writing music. We're writing, looking at new material almost every day, and we're doing acoustic shows as well, and that's a whole different catalogue.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a huge reservoir of music, not just Jethro Tull, but my own music, instrumental things, and just music that I want to play. Some sort of great songs that I just want to change, rearrange, and have fun with them. It's a bottomless reservoir, and it's all really great stuff.
Where do you go in your head when you're on stage, when you're really cranking along with the band?
Where I'm sorry.
Where do you go in your head on stage?
I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and if I make a mistake, I can laugh at it. It used to be when I'd make a slip or a little error, it made me really angry.
Yeah.
And I just think you've just got to look at the humour, and you've just got to be. And the worst thing is, you've got to remember the audience are paying to see you, to be entertained, and I can't just say this is the next song, thank you.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna do a song called. So I want to chat to the audience. I want to see what sort of an audience they are. I think I don't know why I do it, but I feel that it's a nice thing to do. And I watch other bands, and they're very perfunctory in their communication. And I think, well, people are getting in their car, driving, maybe 50 miles, and paying a lot of money for that ticket, rather than staying at home and listening to the CD. You've got to give them a good reason for doing that. And I just think, that it's all about communicating the music to the audience through a visual, through chatting to them, playing. Obviously, it's an all-round experience.
Well, it's got to be a surreal thing when you're on stage and also interacting in person with these people, because those songs, although you've been playing them for the better part of 50 years, are also 50 years worth of history for John Q. Public. You know what I mean? Like, those songs are connected to their memories in such a deep way, probably.
Yeah, they are. And a lot of things we play are quite sort of remote within the catalogue. So we'll play like a very little known Jethro Tull song, and the audience are really surprised. It's a real pleasant surprise for them.
Well, a personal question of mine I was curious about. You've probably been asked it a million times, but how did the riff for Aqualung come about? Where were you and what were you doing?
Well, Ian wrote it, but then I wrote the solo. I arranged the solo. I mean, in those days, Ian pretty well came along with a sort of a basic idea for a song, or a basic riff like "My God" or "Locomotive Breath." I mean, he wrote those riffs and he based the song around them, but they're always very basic forms. So the Jethro Tull as a band always sort of highly arranged stuff, and worked very hard on to make these songs more complete.
What do you see when you look at the music industry now? Because I wonder the place of a rock and roll band in an era where the charts are dominated by pop and country music.
I mean, there's good and there's bad, but there always was. But when I look back at the 70s and the 80s, there was a lot of rubbish. There was a lot of bad. There really was. There was a lot of bad playing. There was a lot of bad taste. But out of those things, there's always something good comes. And I think it's the same today. That you watch YouTube, you watch TV, music on TV, on the radio, and it's a mix of good and bad. It's going to be that way forever.
Yeah.
Because there's no, you can't you can't imprint your taste on the public. You've got to let them decide what they want to hear, and if they want to hear Justin Bieber or the Monkees or Cliff Richard, or I don't try to think of people who are.
Well, I'd asked a few guitar players about that, and they said, no matter what, I wasn't the first to create entertainment, nor will I be the last. There's always going to be some kid in his garage playing a guitar.
Yeah, I mean, I just want people to like music, and if somebody likes terrible music, one day, that they might discover something really good. They'll get bored of whatever they're listening to, and they'll discover that they're going to develop their taste. I mean, all kids. That's why kids come to see us play, because their parents like Jethro Tull, but they shared the albums with their kids. They liked it, and they're coming to see us play, and they really enjoy it. So it's always a resurgence of interest. But it takes time. You got to live and let live. It doesn't bother me. I think the things that annoy me are the sort of talent shows on TV where the judges are really pompous and condescending, and all the vocals are pitch corrected through a machine. I think it's really bad. It's a really bad image of music.
Oh, of course. And with that same thought, there's been times where there was an act coming up and the album wasn't that good, so I didn't want to review it. I don't see any need in writing a bad review. I want to share music that I really enjoy when I write about music.
Yeah.
And I thought, who am I to say in maybe 5 years they put out the best album ever, Yeah.
I mean, I buy CDs and I'm really disappointed by them, and I feel quite cheated. So, and some of the reviews I read in England, I mean, there's one publication called the Sunday Times, and they're very upmarket.
Yeah.
And but they have a CD of the week, and I think 3 times I've in a like glowing review, and I buy the CD, and I'm thinking, who the hell are these people reviewing these CDs? Because they are truly terrible. I mean, they're truly awful. And I just think, that there's, who reviews the reviewers?
Yeah, exactly.
Is my query. But, I mean, somebody needs to do it. But it's such a personalised thing, like a movie. You can there'll be a movie out, and you'll read a stinking review and a glowing review of the same movie, but who do you believe?
Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of times, it's funny you mention that. There's not a lot of emotional connection in music journalism anymore. It's more about just kind of assembly line, pushing stuff out the door for content online, without actually diving into the record or actually digging for other records. It's almost like, I don't know, it's almost cool to be snarky in reviews, But, well, I was wondering too is, you spent more than 50 years performing, and I was curious about what that has taught you about what it means to be a human being.
Yeah, I mean, I just love music. I have deep down, I have a lot of faith, and occasionally you see something amazing, like Snarky Puppy, or there's just something that amazes you. Not much, but it is there, and it always will be there. There'll always be a surprise. As long as people buy instruments, learn how to play them, and I think it's such a great thing, in an age where people are glued to their phones and computers, Twitter and Facebook, and it's a very sort of unreal world. I just think it's really nice that you can actually find kids that want to sit down and learn music and play music. It's a very historically